In 2019, during a Deliver for Good conference held in Vancouver, Canada, President Uhuru Kenyatta made a commitment to end FGM by 2022. But in 2020, the emergence of COVID-19 threatened to erode the gains made so far in eradicating this harmful practice. According to UNFPA Executive Director Dr. Natalie Kanem and Executive Director of UNICEF, Henrietta Fore, in a joint statement, they indicated that 2 million additional cases of female genital mutilation may occur over the next 10 years as COVID-19 causes closure of schools and disrupts programs that help protect girls from these harmful practices. This is an aspect that is confirmed by Eva Komba, the gender lead for SDG Kenya Forum.
During COVID, the stats that came from that community for girls who have been cut were too high. And we asked ourselves, what is not happening? We have invested in West Pokot, but we still see this. And you know what COVID did? West Pokot depends on cross-border trade, inter-county trade. And that meant that in that form of economic activity is impacted on negatively. They couldn't trade, they couldn't do this. And what do? They turn on to the girls to trade for dowry and what is the prerequisite for marriage? It is a girl who's been cut.
But it is now becoming clearer that COVID-19 is not the only factor that is threatening to derail the gains that have been made in the fight against FGM. Emerging strong cultural norms, stigma, and social discrimination are threatening the achievement of the 2022 target made by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Monica Yator, the founder and director of Indigenous Women and Girls Initiative in Baringo, explains.
FGM narrative now have changed. It is now women versus women. The women now are putting more pressure to the uncircumcised women because they say that if your boy is almost being circumcised, you will not be allowed to feed the boy nor welcome the boy after circumcision. So these women over 50, they are now under pressure by the society and even the peer groups, the women who have been circumcised, because you will not fetch water in the same river with an uncircumcised woman. So, and you will not even cook for your own son. So these women go there voluntarily because of societal pressure. So the narrative of FGM has changed now. So we need to rethink protecting the elderly, now the mature women from circumcision.
It is cultural norms like this that, if they continue unabated, will erode gains that have been made so far in achieving the Sustainable Development Goal number 5 of ending all forms of discrimination against all women and girls everywhere. More specifically, Target 3, which seeks to eliminate all harmful practices such as child, early and forced marriage, and female genital mutilation. Monica Yator from Baringo explains that women face stigma that leads to exclusion.
In Kalenjin, we call it sinendate. I don't know how it's called in English. Maybe we'll look for scientific name. But it's a kind of a plant circumcised woman will put on the shoulder of the son. That is a welcome back home after the incision process. If you are not circumcised, you will not welcome your boy first. You will not even appear in those ceremonies. So you'll have to delegate either the auntie of the boy who is circumcised or grandmother to the boy. So that makes women so stigmatized because they cannot welcome their own biological kids.
Eva Komba believes the arguments on GBV must evolve even as the cultures evolve. Otherwise, it is a lost battle.
I would want to begin by saying that GBV evolves. GBV is constantly evolving with modernity, with capitalism, with different generations coming. to take over, the others, taking a back seat, or the others not just actively relinquishing the decision making and powers around decision making and investments. So what I would say, what I am increasingly seeing as a gender specialist and working around this actively at the forum and in my other areas of research, is that as the GBV evolves, the arguments are not evolving. So I'll give you an example of FGM. In some communities, FGM is attributed to death. It causes maternal death. But in the same communities, we are witnessing a population increase. So when you go and challenge the community that FGM kills, and they look back and see no woman has died, or is only one woman. That's why I said stats are important. There's only one woman who can actually be attributed to have died of FGM or as that of cutting. Then it becomes very difficult for the community to use that argument to abandon FGM. See? And then then comes in the contradiction of the government and other development partners and civil society have been pushing for safer births. So every woman is supposed to deliver safely. So if this woman has undergone FGM, it is for the health facilities, the health ministry and the facilities and the personnel to provide options in partnership with her for her to deliver safely. So we are seeing an increase in the number of cesarean sections that women who have undergone FGM are opting for. And that removes the argument of FGM killing, because there are options, including cesarean section. And that means that the more women deliver in hospitals, the lesser they are likely to die from FGM. Are you getting it? So you find that advancing the argument in this at community level becomes a challenge. And then the arguments need to. The other bit is when the woman dies, as long as she had FGM and it is confirmed that it is another bit of another condition that killed her, it becomes very like we know when women are pregnant, they suffer a preeclampsia, diabetes. If she dies out of that, it is now becomes an FGM attributable death.
It has also been presented world over that once a girl goes through FGM/cutting, their education comes to a stop because they are quickly married off. But as cultural norms evolve, that argument might not hold water anymore, as Eva Komba shares.
When you go to the community, other communities, and say FGM prevents women from going to school and completing school. But you go to the Kisi community and women are cut and they still go back to school and complete school. So that is not an argument you can advance in that setting. You see, we are seeing we are seeing a shift from the past where women are being cut and married off. But right now women are being cut and taken back to school. So the argument becomes a little bit difficult to advance at community level. So and then as we continue to advance the efforts to end FGM, there are other emerging causes of FGM. There are emerging causes that perpetuate the cutting of girls. And if we don't look at aspects of social protection, very poor family households conduct FGM in FGM communities so that they can marry off the girls and get some gifts, food, cattle for restocking, for survival. So unless that element is removed, is attended to, the push factor is attended to, then no amount of campaign, no amount of investment, no amount of arrests will end FGM in a community.
Monica believes that the missing link is civic education that could help the communities with vital information.
These policies are just on paper in Nairobi. We need to do a lot of civic education at the community level. We need to tell our women there's a law that protects them. We need to give women power to say no to these harmful practices. So we need to build the power from the bottom up.
Monica has a message to the government.
We need a rescue center because if a girl has to be forced to be circumcised and she has the power to say no, where will she run to? We need a rescue center. We need what do you call a gender desk. All our police stations, they are male dominated. We don't have a gender desk. And all our police stations are far. You cannot run for 300 kilometers to get protection. So you see those girls are vulnerable and they are forced into circumcision. Okay, for these women, now they're married and they're forced to undergo circumcision for their boys to be cut. Where will they run to? And they need to protect their families. They need to be called wives to some and so and so. So there's that protecting family name, to be called wife to somebody. But now you have to protect your name but undergo the pain of FGM.
Deliver for Good campaign will continue to work with national and local actors and communities on the ground to ensure that government and all stakeholders play their roles in ending FGM/cutting in Kenya.